Welcome to the Endpoints Podcast from the ALS Therapy Development Institute. My name is Gabrielle Bellitti. I am the Outreach and Community Engagement Specialist at ALS TDI, and I'm actually here with Andrea Sheehey, who works at the Mighty Squirrel Brewing Company, but has a much deeper connection to our ALS for ALS program that was piloted in 2013 by a family connected with familial ALS, and essentially they offered participating breweries an experimental hop blend free of charge in exchange that breweries would brew a special beer with the hops and donate a portion of their beer sales to ALS TDI. So Andrea, I'm so excited you are here with us, and I would love to learn more about your personal connection with this program here for ALS at ALS.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So my story pretty much begins with, my family does have a history of ALS. It goes back about 3 generations, and there have been 9 family members who have passed. When I was 10 years old, my father passed away. He was 40, and then about 4 months after, my grandmother passed away. And this kind of was the beginning of how I knew with my history, my family, going forward, that I wanted to do as much as I could to support ALS TDI and all the efforts that are being made to just end this horrible disease. But my father was starting to fail. And this is a very personal story that I really do want to share, because it's kind of a testament to where my passion for so many things began.
Yeah.
So we would go camping. So first, I'm from Washington State. Yeah. So the fact, that the hop farm is in Washington, that's also a kind of a interesting way how it all connects.
Right.
But we used to go camping on Mount Rainier, and it was right about the time when my father was failing. So I believe in his mind, he was like, "All right, we got to do this." It's a very important thing for my memory as I look at it. And it's so I was 10. Oh gosh, hold on, I have to start crying. I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh. But we would go and he'd have me have a special chore, which was to take a 6-pack of Rainier beer, which happened to be his favorite, and tie it to a rope. And then he'd have me, put it in the river to get cold. So then I kind of thought to myself, well, this is a perfect opportunity to try this, And so I had asked, I said, can I try this? And he kind of smirked a little, and he said, "Sure, why not?" So I cracked it open, and I took a big gulp, and I was like, "This is great!" And he thought he kind of, again, he smiled, and I think that like he knew that we shared something there,
Right.
That it's like, what at that age, why would you like beer? So I think that's kind of like where my whole my beginning of, not that I started drinking very young, but my beginning of where I wanted to go, where I wanted to be in my career, as well as how I wanted to give back as many ways as I can to ALS TDI.
Yeah.
I've had a couple other experiences. I actually did a ride, the ALS tri-state, or the
tri-state
ALS
trek,
TDI.
yeah.
The tri-state trek. I actually did the 18 miles.
Wow.
And that was it. I'm like,
oh,
I
no, that's awesome.
It was back in 2015, and I actually had done it with my brother. So this kind of brings this whole thing full circle. Mm-hmm. So yes, I work at Mighty Squirrel Brewing.
Yeah.
I had spoke with my team about this project, ALS for ALS. I had given them more information that they could probably have, used. I gave them every source. I gave them stories. Their emails are like, probably, I don't know, 6 pages long if you printed them out. But I wanted to, just put it out there and let them be as, informative of this, or let them know as much as I could.
Right.
So, it was something that they were pining over and thinking. And this day, this woman walks in, and I'm in the tap room, and I look over, and she's wearing an ALS Tri-State Trek T-shirt. So I was like, this is meant to be.
Right.
So it was actually really busy, and I'm like, hey guys, I gotta go. And it started almost like I was kind of stalking her. It was actually kind of, I'm sure she probably thought it was fine, but in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right.
So I made my way to her, and I introduced myself, and I had told her literally weeks prior how I was looking into doing this ALS for ALS with Mighty Squirrel. And I told her my background about doing the ride and everything. And that was Callie.
Oh,
that
wow.
was, one of your scientists.
Yeah.
So I believe that she's the beginning of it, and she gave me information. She connected me with Terry Handler.
Yeah.
And from there, I met with Terry, who, my goodness, is the most amazing, strong. She's an ambassador. She's an ALS ambassador. And I just felt an instant connection. And as we were sharing stories, and I had told her about our process of how do we do this? Like, let's get this started.
Right.
Because I had gotten the backing from the team. Mighty Squirrel was all on board.
Yeah.
And it just kind of was a whirlwind of events since then. So it's, the beer is now brewed. Yay. And it has been served. Yesterday was the first day. It was offered in our tap room. Again, a very personal story behind the name. So the name of the beer is Ales for Dad. My father's name was Dwayne Allen Devitt. So Dad are those are his initials.
Right.
But also it includes my grandmother, whose name was Alice Devitt. So it fits in so many ways.
Right.
So I was lucky enough to name the beer, and again, Mighty Squirrel was so just upfront saying, "This is your project. You are doing this. Of course, we're going to work with you as many ways as we can." So the beer is a double IPA, and it is soft and fruitful as I think an IPA can get. It tastes of clementines, and I have a nickname for it. I call it "Oh My Darling," because it literally is. But it
sounds awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And yesterday was it was amazing. So many people came in, members from your team at ALS TDI, as well as some members of the ALS community, and one woman, Kate, and her husband, Kevin, came in, and she introduced herself, and she's like, "You must be Andrea." And I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "I'm Kate, and I have ALS." And I was like, oh my gosh. It was probably the most emotional moment of the entire day.
Yeah.
But knowing how much she appreciated what we were doing, or what I was doing, and how I made, she's like, "You made it happen." She knew my story. She had talked to different people. And I was just, I was brought to tears.
Right.
And they were happy tears, because doing something like this, it just is giving back in so many ways. It's giving back to those patients, the ALS patients. It's giving back to everybody, giving back to the community. And but it's at the bottom line is like my story. It's not just my story. It's the tale of so many others.
Right.
Those who've been, robbed for the ability to walk or speak, and those who can't take care of themselves anymore, and then the friends and family that witness this pain. And just all knowing at one point, because there is not a cure, they will endure such a loss.
Right.
But I feel that is something that is going to, again, not seeing the sad side of it, seeing, for instance, again, Kate come in and just be happy and jovial and she really was the first person I met that had our beer, who she loved it as well. But for her being the first person, I just know even going forward, however much I can help, that's where I am. I know this is something that's not just going to be a one-time thing.
Yeah, no, it seems like you've had a love of beer since a very young age, and part of it obviously is the connection with your dad, and then obviously kind of a way to stay connected to him and to name it, after him, after your grandmother, and then to have that connection with Kate. You're right, it is special, and it's a way to obviously, they're never too far from you in your memory, but to be able to celebrate and to have, people come together around food and alcohol. So,
exactly.
It's good to take something kind of sad and what can be overwhelmingly negative and kind of, be able to make positive memories around, a good glass of beer. So I don't think that there's anything better than that. In terms of your participation in the program, would you recommend that other breweries get involved for the Ales for ALS, and why would you think that?
Oh, absolutely. In talking about this with others, in the pre-release of our beer, there was so many, and that this is kind of the like-minded people in so many ways. They come in and they want to talk about beer, and of course I will talk as long as they want to listen, because I enjoy talking about beer. I enjoy talking about anything. I'm a people person. But, and telling them about it and just like, oh, well, they would say, well, my aunt has ALS, or, everyone, it seems, and this is the sad part, because I don't remember it being this years ago when I would talk about it.
Right.
They would, you wouldn't know what it was. But now it's so relevant. And now there are so many people that are touched, and so many people have these connections. It doesn't matter if you're a brewery that internally doesn't have a connection. There will always be a connection. And making this beer, knowing that it's going to such a amazing charitable cause, it's a nonprofit such as yourself, giving back in a way where you're doing the research, you're pushing, and ultimately, our end goal is to find a cure and end ALS. So any brewery that would like to speak with me,
yes, exactly.
Personally,
go down to Mighty Squirrel.
I could give them all. Yes, I could give them all of the reasons why. That's and it's very it's inspiring. And it's also empowering, those who are suffering or watching someone suffer, knowing that this beer is going towards that. I would definitely recommend to anyone who even thinks about it, that's there, that's an option. The hot blends this year was amazing, and I've had a number in the past. And I definitely believe it is something that I will continue to contribute as much as I can to these breweries and talk, I'll try to post as much as I can on social media.
Yeah,
I'll tag every brewery in the entire United States. That's my goal. I will tag every brewery, and I will consistently do that until all 7,000 of them or more are
part of it.
Are notified. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you want to join Andrea along with Mighty Squirrel in the 140 breweries that participate in Ales for ALS, you can learn more at a.als.net. Please listen to our podcasts on iTunes and Spotify. Andrea, thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for sharing your story. I think it's so important that people find a way to participate in ending ALS and in whatever capacity that looks like. So for some people, it's lemonade stands. For other people, it is brewing beer. Whatever tickles your fancy, come help us end ALS. So thank you so much, Andrea. And if you want to learn more, feel free to stop by Mighty Squirrel Brewing Company in Waltham, Massachusetts. Am I right, Andrea?
That is it.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
And thank you. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.